Thank you, Senator Casemeyer. I would remind the audience that we have the white comment cards, question cards. Fill them out, send them to the center, and our lobbyists will pick them up. Now, Senate Minority Leader Alan Kittleman.
It's a pleasure to be here this morning. It's nice to see Lieutenant Governor Brown and my good friend Ed Casemeyer. We both represent Howard County, and I've known Ed for a long, long time. He served with my father. I consider him a friend and great colleague. Also good to be with my fellow leader, O'Donnell, and Speaker Bush and I have a lot of fun together, so hopefully we'll have some more fun today. Yesterday we were in front of the Maryland Economic Development Association with Senator Miller. I guess he had to go out of town now. Yesterday in the Senate and the House, we honored Paul Sarbanes for his tremendous service to our state. And he made a very, very impassioned speech in front of the Senate, the body I serve in. And I think it's important that I share what he said. And what he said was partisanship is not bad. He said partisanship is not bad as long as it's done civilly. It's actually good. It's important for both sides to be heard. It's important for opposing views to be discussed. Because if you don't, you're not going to get a good product. Interestingly, Mike Miller responded that, well, he can say that now that he's retired. But what I say it to you today is because, you know, I differ with a lot of things that the Lieutenant Governor says or that my friend Senator Casemeyer says. But it's not because I don't have respect for them. It's not because I don't want to be civil to them. But I think it's important that you know. I think it's important that you hear the other side of the story. You know, you've heard an awful lot about the budget. And we talked a lot about the budget yesterday, and I could talk about the budget forever. But today, I think I'm going to let that go for a little bit. I want to tell you that I think one of the big issues this session is labor. Because when you have a session where you don't have any money to spend, and we've been told basically if you have a fiscal note on your bill, you're not getting anything through. But it could be a year of policy changes. It could be a year when the government says, you know, it doesn't cost us a thing. Now, it might cost employers a whole lot of money, but it doesn't cost us a thing, so we can pass it this year. One example of that is shift breaks. That's coming this year. It was very close last year. So, as your website says, it's to impose a one-size-fits-all shift break mandate on employers. That's coming. I think it's going to pass this year. I'm going to fight it, but I think it's going to pass this year. I think it's going to pass because, as a colleague of mine on the other side of the aisle said to this group down in Cambridge at the conference, the Democratic majority has to protect its base, labor and trial lawyers. It's not me saying that. That's a member of the other side in leadership position. So they have to protect labor. That's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to do this session. And trial lawyers, I worry about your civil liability stance on those because that might be at risk too. Prevailing wage. Prevailing wage. I'll put a bill in again this year to repeal it for school construction, or at least defer it when we're in such bad times. I agree, it's great to put money into school construction. First, it does give us jobs. It also improves our education system. But why in the world do we require the school systems in the rural counties to pay a prevailing wage? We don't require the wealthy counties to pay a prevailing wage because they can put in more than 50% of the funding. So just the poor counties have to pay a prevailing wage. Now, what is wrong with that? Think about how skewed that is. So one of the counties I represent, Carroll County, tells me every year we would save $2 million if we could do the competitive wage with school construction. But we're told no. Now, why would you be told no? What possible reason would we want the counties and the state to pay more money than we have to? Why? Because we've got to protect our base, labor. Yesterday when I brought that up, Senator Miller responded, I think this is right, we got to stop scabs from coming from West Virginia. Stop scabs from coming from West Virginia. Speaker Bush, and I'm sure he can correct me when he comes up, he'd probably try, said that he thought the prevailing wage ensured quality. Ensured quality. And what I get out of that is that you guys don't know what you're doing. Because employers don't know how to make sure they have quality employees, to make sure the job is done right. So we've got to tell you, you got to charge more so you can get those really good people. Not the ones you hire. You'd hire really bad people. We got to tell you to charge more so you can hire really good people. We've heard about the unemployment rate. Yesterday I said our unemployment rate was 1% higher than Virginia. President Miller screamed out, "No, you're wrong." And you know what? He was right. It's only 0.8% lower than Maryland. Actually, I should have said close to 1%. They're a right-to-work state, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have the problems that we have dealing with labor issues. DBED. Talked a lot about DBED yesterday. The last administration, the last budget for DBED was $135.5 million. The first budget for DBED in the current administration was $117.8 million. The second budget for DBED in the current administration was $100.9 million. The third budget for the current administration was $100.1 million. So the budget for DBED has gone down $35 million in 4 years. And now we're talking jobs, jobs, jobs. What about the last 4 years? The last 3 years? Now I know a lot of you feel pressure, as you tell me all the time. We feel pressure because we can't really oppose that, Alan. Because if we do, we'll get punished. If we do, they'll harm us in some way. This year is different. This year is different. You know why? Because there's a mood out there in Maryland. I've been all across the state of Maryland. There's a mood, and the people are tired of the way things are being done in Annapolis. And what happened is they see what's happening in Washington. They've seen that we have a healthcare debate that's held behind closed doors, even though there was a commitment to hold it in front of everybody on C-SPAN. And they come to me and they say, "Alan, I can't believe what happens in Washington. Look what they do. They close the doors. They don't let anyone in." I said, "Well, it's been like that here for decades. And, you know, where have you been?" I mean, Republicans never included fiscal leader meetings. Why not? I mean, why not? I mean, can you not defend your position amongst the opposition? If you can't defend your position, then why do you have it? Why can't you shed some light on that? We need to have that. And there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people out here Wednesday night in the cold. I was one of them. And they were here from all across the state of Maryland, Washington County, Lower Eastern Shore. And they were here because they're tired of the way things are being done in Annapolis. And I think to myself, they need help. And this year, you don't have to worry. This year, you have the people of Maryland supporting you. They came out because they don't want overtaxation. They came out and they said they don't want overregulation. You have multitudes of hundreds of thousands of people in Maryland saying, "You guys are right." Don't let them force you down. Now, some people say I'm partisan. Some people will have an article in the paper saying Senator Kittleman got out there and he was partisan again. But I tell you what Senator Sarbanes would say. He's telling you what he believes is true. And it's not partisan. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. And you know what? Everyone in this room knows it. From the most liberal Democrat to the most conservative Republican, every one of you knows it. And what's so bad is that we're not talking about it to everybody. And we're not sharing that with everybody. Because our government would be better if we shared that. Our government would be better if we opened up. And we have hundreds of thousands of people in Maryland clamoring for that. And I need the business community, we need the business community, to stand up and support them. The question becomes this session whether the business community is going to stand up with those people and demand that the system work the way it was intended to work. That it be open, that it be accountable, and then you have the right then to know where we stand on issues, and you can throw us out, Republican or Democrat. If we don't do what you think is right, throw us out. The problem is people don't know what we're doing because we're behind closed doors. So now I'll give a chance for my colleague from the House to speak, and then I look forward to your questions. And again, I'm just telling you what I believe, folks, and it's not partisan, it's just my point of view. Thank you.